Right, shalom, shalom. All right, let me get straight into this lesson. All right, so I was it's kind of crazy how the spirit moves you sometimes, because I was going into I was in study today, and this one of my older books that I've been having this book for about a few years now, and I overlooked something in this book, and it was it's real heavy what I'm about to show you. You know what I'm saying? All right, so this is the name of the book. Matter of fact, it's one right here. You're looking at the Roman Empire. Right, so if you brothers want to go grab this book, this is a heavy resource. All right, so let me show you something, but it's going into Peter and Paul. Now, I don't know how I missed this, but let me show you something real quick, and then I'm gonna get into this lesson. Right, this proving that the Peter and Paul were so-called black men. Right, the scripture's not gonna lie. So this off page, let me see, what page is this? If you brothers want to get this book, Salakia, let me find out what page this on. Salakia, 1 second. 1 second. It's kind of bad with me. Because I literally just closed this book up on that particular part. 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, and this book is page 430. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to read this, man. It's heavy what I'm about to show you. Right? So I'm going to read this above. Well, it says below right here. It says the apostles Peter and Paul from an early 4th century AD Roman bas relief. St. Peter, Rome was one of the first great basilicas. So 4th century, let me show you something real quick so you can kind of get the timeline. Right, and it's heavy because I don't know how I overlook this. But the spirit move how the spirit do, right? So let me show you something real quick. So this is in 4th century AD. So if you're looking at, BC compared to AD, right? Or you can say CE, right? I mean BCE, Salakia, or CE. BCE is before common era, or they'll say before Christ, and AD, right, is the common era. And I forget what that stands for. That let me look that up real quick. All right, here AD. It's a Latin phrase that stands for the year of our Lord, Yahweh, right? It stands for Amonon Demoni, if I'm saying that correctly. So let me go back so you can see. So AD and CE is the same thing, and then BCE and BC is the same. It's before common era. BCE, BC is before Christ, as they say. We don't say that name Christ. I'm just using it so you can understand. And AD is the same as the common era, right? A CE, right? So 4th century right here. So you got 1 AD and then 4th century AD. So it'd be like 400 years AD, right? That's when this was discovered, this relief. And the relief is like similar to a sculpture. Check this out. So I don't know. I think this Peter right here, this Peter or Paul, but look how they look. That's a so-called black man. Look at them lips, right? Look at that nose. They broke the nose off on purpose. And he would have a beard, right? Because that was a part of our culture to have your beard, right? So I believe this is Peter, and I'm going to show you Paul, right? You see the same thing right here. It says the apostle Peter and Paul from early century, 4th century, right? So-called black man, and this is Paul. You see that afro? You see them right here. That's a so-called black man. That's Peter and Paul, right? In this book right here. I was like, man, that's heavy. So let me get into this lesson. Did not Paul get mistaken for an Egyptian? Give me 1 second. 1 second. All right, so this is from my other book. I'm gonna read this bottom part right here. It says right here, where it's Israelites mistaken for so-called black Egyptians. It says there are several instances of Israelites being mistaken for Egyptians in the Bible. This misidentification obviously indicates that the true Egyptians, so-called in the Israelites have similar skin tone. It says, however, prior to examining the biblical accounts of Israelites being mistaken for an Egyptian, it is necessary to touch upon the ongoing controversy concerning the color of the Egyptians, right? So they pull this out of the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. It says, according to the Holy Bible, the part where I got it underlined, the last paragraph, it says, the father of the ancient Egyptian, Mizraim, Ham's second oldest son, as has already been noted, Ham, the progenitor of the African races, so-called dark races, right? Right, but not the Negroes. So I even wrote these scriptures right here, so we're gonna go to those as well, right? So let me show you this real quick. So this is First Maccabees 3:48. So these devils, this is nothing new for them to do this. So when they came into power around the late, between the 14 and 1600s, the late 1600s, right? Right, 14 to 1600 period. It's called the Renaissance era. When these devils came back into power, right, their deadly wound being healed, and they was able to whitewash all the patriarchs, all the prophets, the Most High, the Messiah as being so-called white men, as you're seeing right here. This was what they did. They took the dark images of the true Israelites and whitewashed them. That's why people's minds so jacked up. They don't know what the truth is. All right. So First Maccabees 3:48, right here. It says, and laid open the book of the law, which is the Bible, where the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images, the so-called white man. So let me show you something real quick, and I'm gonna hit those scriptures. So when you go to Peter, right, this Wikipedia, right, this mainstream so-called truth right here, but it's a lie. Why? Look how they got him betrayed as a so-called white man. But I want to show you something very interesting that I figured out as well. So when you go here, right, so they got this as this supposed to be Peter, which we know Peter don't look like this. This is how he looks. Right here. Look at that, so-called black man. That's from the 4th century. This painting right here, not this one, but this one was created in the 1600s. You see the difference? See how they whitewash his image? So something from the 4th century way up to the 1600s, right? These devils came back into power and whitewashed. It says right here, where I'm at, it says St. Peter 1610 through 1610. And it actually tell you who this was painted by. It says by Peter Paul Rubens. So check this out. It's heavy. It says Sir Peter Paul Rubens. It says a Flemish artist and diplomat. Uh-oh. Got you devils. So let's go to Paul. So all these are fraud, fake images created by the so-called white man during the Renaissance. So this is supposed to be Apostle Paul. That's why people are all confused. They don't have the truth. Let me show you something else. So-called white man, right? Check this out. It says at the bottom, Apostle Paul, portrait by Rembrandt, 1657. Who is he? Right? So this is these Renaissance painters. It says Rembrandt T was a Dutch Golden Age painter, printmaker, and draftsman. You hear this? Wow. It said he's generally considered one of the greatest visual artists in history of art. This devil. So that's who painted this. If you go back, this portrait right here of Paul in the 1600s, and go back to Peter, right? This devil here painted this portrait that you see on Wikipedia, right? And that's supposed to be the Apostle Peter. This was created in the 1600s. All these are fraudulent paintings, right? So the so-called white man got all this, and he in cahoots with this whole system. This whole system supports so-called white supremacy, and they're not going to tell you the truth. All right, let's go here. So Paul got mistaken for an Egyptian. Why? Because they got the same skin tone, right? This is the book of Acts 21, and let me start at 37. Matter of fact, let me just pull it up like this. We got you devils pinpointed. All right, Acts 21 and 37. Let me go straight down to it. It says, whereas Paul at the very top, For it's Paul. So who's the conversation talking about? Paul, the Apostle Paul. All right, as Paul was to be led into the council, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee? So he said, can I speak unto you? Who said, can thou speak a Greek? So he was surprised because Paul was versed. He knew how to speak other languages. He knew how to speak Greek, right? 38. Are not that Egyptian? So why did he refer to him? If he was a so-called white man, he would have never called him an Egyptian, right? Because the chief captain saw the color of Paul's skin, going back into this right here from the 4th century. This heavy, this condemning information right here. See the afro? You see them lips, right? The nose, them dominant so-called black man pictures, man, right? And that proves the Israelites were so-called black people. All right, let's get back into this. Which it says, are not that Egyptian? So he thought he was an Egyptian. It says, which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers. Right here, it says 39. But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Taurus, the city of Sicilia, a citizen of no mean city. Right? So Paul was from the tribe of Benjamin. Right? So he was an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin, but he was a Roman citizen, if you know the history. All right, let's go here. There's another case where Moses got mistaken for an Egyptian, right? We know how the Egyptians look. Exodus 2, and I think it's let me start at 17. Exodus 2 and 17, the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses, all right, who was the conversation talking about? Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. 18. And when there came to Ruel, their father, he said, how is it that ye come so soon today? 19. And they said, an Egyptian, delivered us out of the hand of these shepherds. All right, 1 second. See, when you go to Google, you look up Moses, look at this. They got him portrayed as a so-called white man. This is all witchcraft. This is a part of this devil magic to enchant the people's mind, to get them under this illusion that they the true biblical Israelites because they got the images to push it, right? But we know Moses was a so-called black man. Let me show you something real quick. And this is how the true Egyptians look, right? So that was our people doing labor in Egypt, the Israelites. 1 second. Well, this is the Israelites. Give me 1 second. All right, so this is my book I got on Egypt. Actually, I got it right here. It's the Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt, right? So you see how the Egyptians look, and our people was mingling among them as well, right? This is the book right here that I got. And you see how the Egyptians look, so-called black people. So we got all this covered, man, through the spirit. So you devils can no longer lie about this, man, right? So, you know, you had Paul and Moses mistaken for an Egyptian, right? We know how the Egyptians look. They were so-called black people, right? And I ain't talking about this modern concept of this movie 10 Commandments and all the propaganda movies that you devils have made. The cat out the bag, right? Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakak Kodash. Shalom.